Turn rock bottom into a foundation. Hit rock bottom. Good. Now build from it. By T.M. Light. Description: This book is a motivational guide for anyone facing life's toughest challenges. Discover how hitting rock bottom can become the catalyst for personal growth, resilience, and authentic success. This 10-chapter journey teaches practical strategies to embrace failure, reframe setbacks, build strong daily habits, and cultivate self-awareness, mindset, and purpose. Learn to transform adversity into opportunity, reclaim inner strength, and thrive without waiting for external validation. Packed with actionable insights, inspiring stories, and mindset tools, this ebook empowers readers to rise from their lowest points, rebuild intentionally, and create a life of fulfillment, courage, and lasting growth. Chapter Outline. Introduction: Hitting rock bottom and finding opportunity. Chapter 1: Understanding your rock bottom. Chapter 2: Accepting reality without resistance. Chapter 3: Reframing failure as fuel. Chapter 4: Discovering your inner strength. Chapter 5: Letting go of limiting beliefs. Chapter 6: Setting your foundation, values, and vision. Chapter 7: Rebuilding daily habits and routines. Chapter 8: Harnessing resilience through challenges. Chapter 9: Finding purpose in the rebuild. Chapter 10: Thriving beyond rock bottom. Conclusion: Your foundation, your growth. Introduction: Hitting rock bottom and finding opportunity. There is a moment in life when everything seems to collapse. You've worked tirelessly, given your all, and yet somehow the outcome is not what you imagined. Maybe a relationship fell apart, a career path crumbled, or a personal dream slipped through your fingers. You feel adrift, exhausted, and overwhelmed, as though the ground beneath you has disappeared. The weight of disappointment presses down, and you wonder if you'll ever recover. This is hitting rock bottom, the kind of experience that shakes you to your core, leaving you questioning your worth, your choices, and even your future. And yet, paradoxically, it is in this very moment, in the depth of despair, that the greatest opportunity for growth can emerge. Hitting rock bottom is not a failure, it is a signal. It is the universe, life, or your own inner self telling you that something must change. It is a rare, unfiltered moment of clarity that exposes what no longer serves you, what habits, relationships, or beliefs have held you back, and what is truly essential. While painful, it is also fertile ground. Just as a seed must be buried in darkness before it sprouts toward the light, your lowest point can be the foundation from which you rebuild your life stronger, wiser, and more resilient than before. The first step in transforming rock bottom into a foundation is shifting your mindset. Most people instinctively view failure, loss, or setbacks as endings, as proof of inadequacy or defeat. They look at their circumstances and see only what has been taken from them, missing the hidden potential for growth. But what if, instead of seeing rock bottom as a wall, you saw it as a floor? A firm base upon which you could stand, take stock, and rebuild. By reframing your perspective, you begin to see that the experience, while difficult, contains lessons, clarity, and the raw material for personal transformation. When you hit rock bottom, the pain is unavoidable, but how you respond to it is not. The choice is yours. You can linger in despair, or you can start the process of turning adversity into opportunity. This requires courage, patience, and a willingness to examine your life honestly. It demands that you look at what went wrong not as a reason to hate yourself, but as a chance to understand yourself more deeply. What decisions, behaviors, or patterns contributed to this moment? What values or dreams have been neglected? What do you truly want your life to look like moving forward? Asking these questions creates clarity, and clarity is the first step toward reconstruction. In this book, we will guide you through a journey that transforms hitting rock bottom into a foundation for lasting growth. You will learn to cultivate self-awareness, the ability to see your patterns and understand the forces that brought you to this moment. Self-awareness is a powerful tool because it turns confusion and despair into insight. When you understand your own role in your circumstances, not as blame but as learning, you gain control over your future. You discover that even in the lowest moments, you have choices, and these choices determine the trajectory of your life. Resilience is another pillar we will explore. Life will always challenge you, but resilience allows you to withstand setbacks without being defined by them. You will learn strategies to harness inner strength, recover from disappointment, and maintain momentum even when the path forward is unclear. By developing resilience, you transform the emotional and mental turmoil of rock bottom into energy for rebuilding. It is not about denying pain or pretending everything is fine. It is about using that pain as fuel, letting it illuminate your values and channeling it into action that strengthens you. Reframing failure is equally essential. Every person who has achieved great success has failed, often spectacularly. The difference between those who remain stuck and those who thrive lies in perspective. Failure is not a verdict, it is information. It tells you what doesn't work, what needs adjustment, and where there is room to grow. By embracing failure as a teacher, you remove the shame and fear that accompany setbacks, replacing them with curiosity and determination. You start to see rock bottom as a classroom, with each experience offering lessons that will guide your next steps. This ebook will also focus on practical reconstruction. Once you have clarity and perspective, the next step is to rebuild. We will discuss establishing new habits, routines and mindsets that support your personal growth. You will learn how to define your values, set achievable goals, and create a vision for a life that aligns with who you truly are. By taking deliberate, intentional steps, you convert the chaos of your lowest point into a structured foundation from which you can grow. Finally, this journey is about more than recovery, it is about transformation. Hitting rock bottom is not a mark of failure, it is an invitation to redesign your life, to discard what no longer serves you, and to build something greater than before. Through self-reflection, resilience, reframing, and purposeful action, you will see that rock bottom is not an end, it is the starting point of your most meaningful chapter. By the end of this book, you will understand that the power to create the life you desire has always been within you. The ground beneath you may have crumbled, but from its rubble you can construct a foundation stronger than you ever imagined. Throughout these pages, you will be encouraged to face the discomfort of honesty, the uncertainty of change, and the effort required to rebuild. You will encounter exercises, reflections, and motivational guidance designed to help you turn your lowest moments into stepping stones. You will learn to trust your intuition, embrace your inner strength, and celebrate the small victories along the way. Each chapter is a building block, helping you develop the mindset, skills, and habits that will ensure your growth is not temporary but lasting. The message is simple yet profound. Rock bottom is not a tragedy, it is an opportunity. The path forward is not easy, but it is yours to create. By choosing to view your circumstances as a foundation rather than a prison, you reclaim agency, hope, and purpose. This book will show you how to harness that perspective, providing tools, motivation, and insight to transform setbacks into stepping stones. You will learn to rise not in spite of your lowest moments, but because of them. As we begin this journey, remember this: the ground you find yourself on, no matter how jagged, unstable, or dark it feels, is solid enough to stand on. From it you can look up, plan your next move, and take the first steps toward a life of clarity, strength, and fulfillment. Rock bottom is not the end of your story, it is the foundation for the life you are meant to build. Embrace it, learn from it, and prepare to construct a future that is stronger, wiser, and more resilient than you ever imagined. Chapter 1: Understanding your rock bottom. There is a particular kind of silence that accompanies hitting rock bottom. It is not the quiet of peace, but the heavy stillness of a world that seems to have collapsed around you. You are there, staring at the aftermath of decisions, circumstances, or events, and wondering how it all came to this. Your mind races, yet nothing seems clear. Your body feels heavy, weighed down by a mixture of despair, fear, and uncertainty. This is the reality of rock bottom, a place that most people dread, and yet few understand as the starting point for true transformation. So what does rock bottom really mean? The truth is that it is highly subjective. One person's rock bottom might be losing a job, a relationship, or a financial safety net. Another person may feel they've reached the end when confronted with emotional isolation, personal failure, or a long-ignored dream that has unraveled. There is no universal measure of hitting bottom, because it is determined not by the external world alone, but by the internal perception of loss, helplessness, or defeat. Rock bottom is not simply a situation, it is the emotional weight of that situation, the point at which the familiar structures of your life no longer hold, and you are forced to face yourself in unvarnished truth. Hitting rock bottom is often a wake-up call. Life strips away distractions, illusions, and conveniences, leaving you exposed to your own reality. It may feel cruel, abrupt, or overwhelming, yet it carries a profound opportunity, the chance to rebuild from the foundation upward. When everything else has fallen away, you can finally see what truly matters, what is essential, and what has been holding you back. It is the clarity that can only come when the noise of daily life, of external pressures and expectations, is gone. In this sense, rock bottom is less about failure and more about revelation. It is the moment when you confront life without pretense, without masks, and without the false comfort of avoidance. The emotions that accompany hitting rock bottom are often intense and multifaceted. Despair is common, as it seems that all options have been exhausted. The future may appear murky, full of uncertainty, and without hope. Shame and guilt often follow closely behind, whispering that you are responsible, that you are somehow inadequate, or that you should have done better. Confusion permeates your thinking, clouding decisions and making it difficult to know what steps to take. Fear creeps in, sometimes paralyzing you, as you imagine a future that feels unstable and threatening. These emotions are not just reactions, they are signals, messages from your mind and body that something significant is occurring, something that demands attention and honest engagement. It is easy to want to run from these emotions, to distract yourself with busyness, denial, or even self-blame. Yet true growth begins only when you face your rock bottom fully. Avoidance may feel comforting in the short term, but it prevents the realization that your current circumstances contain the blueprint for rebuilding. By acknowledging the depth of your despair, the mistakes or misjudgments that led here, and the realities you now face, you create the conditions for transformation. Acceptance does not mean resignation, it does not mean condoning failures or giving up on change. It simply means being honest with yourself about where you are, without distortion or avoidance. This clarity becomes the soil from which growth can emerge. Self-awareness is a critical component of turning rock bottom into a foundation. Understanding your own role in the circumstances you face is not about blame, it is about insight. It is about recognizing patterns of behavior, decisions and beliefs that contributed to the situation, and discerning what you can control moving forward. Self-awareness allows you to separate the events that happened from the lessons they contain. It helps you see the difference between what was outside your influence and what can now be addressed intentionally. Without this honest evaluation, rebuilding is haphazard. With it, every step you take is purposeful, deliberate, and grounded in reality. Acknowledging rock bottom also means naming your emotions. Fear, anger, sadness, frustration, regret, and confusion all demand recognition. By giving these feelings space, you reduce their power over you. Emotions, when ignored or suppressed, tend to manifest in self-sabotage, destructive habits, or stagnation. Naming them, observing them, and understanding their origins allow you to respond rather than react. This emotional literacy transforms chaos into insight and prepares the mind for deliberate action. It turns pain into a teacher and despair into a roadmap for growth. Another crucial insight is that hitting rock bottom is often a result of misalignment. Whether it is misalignment between your values and your actions, your relationships and your needs, or your goals and your daily habits, rock bottom shines a spotlight on what has been ignored or neglected. The collapse is uncomfortable, precisely because it forces you to confront these discrepancies. This is why self-reflection becomes a cornerstone of the rebuilding process. By examining the areas of life that were out of alignment, you gain clarity on what needs to change, what boundaries must be established, and what habits must be reformed. In this way, rock bottom becomes a mirror that reflects your authentic self and exposes the path toward a life built with integrity. Many people fear rock bottom because it is unpredictable and uncontrollable. Yet, paradoxically, it is also liberating. When the structures and illusions of your life are stripped away, you are faced with a rare freedom, the freedom to choose your next steps consciously, without the weight of pretense, distraction, or societal expectations. At rock bottom, you are given the rare opportunity to define your life on your own terms, to set priorities that truly matter, and to create a foundation that is durable because it is constructed from reality rather than illusion. Building from rock bottom begins with small steps. The process does not require immediate solutions or grand gestures. Instead, it requires observation, acceptance, and incremental action. Self-awareness allows you to identify which aspects of your life require urgent attention and which need careful nurturing over time. Emotional honesty guides your decisions, helping you separate what you can change from what you must accept. Reflection reveals patterns and lessons, ensuring that each step forward is intentional. Together, these elements create a structure on which you can rebuild confidently and sustainably. It is important to remember that rock bottom is not a permanent state. Many people interpret it as the end of their story, a place of irreversible loss, or a moment of irreversible failure. In reality, it is a stage, a crucible in which your character, resilience, and vision are tested and strengthened. The difference between stagnation and transformation lies in mindset. Those who view rock bottom as a foundation understand that every hardship, setback, and collapse is raw material for something greater. Every decision made with awareness, every emotion acknowledged, and every lesson learned is a brick in the structure of your renewed life. As you move through this book, you will learn to leverage rock bottom as a platform for growth. You will explore strategies to cultivate resilience, reframe failure, rebuild habits, and construct a life aligned with your values. You will learn that hitting bottom is not an indictment of your abilities or worth. It is a signal that the life you are living can be elevated, that your potential has not been exhausted, and that the opportunity to create something remarkable exists precisely because you have been tested. This understanding transforms fear into motivation, despair into clarity, and chaos into possibility. In essence, understanding your rock bottom is about seeing the truth without distortion, naming the emotions without judgment, and recognizing the potential embedded within adversity. It is about embracing the discomfort, facing the uncertainty, and allowing honesty to guide your next steps. By doing so, you lay the groundwork for building a foundation that is strong, resilient, and capable of supporting a life that is truly aligned with your values, purpose, and aspirations. Rock bottom is not a wall that traps you, it is a floor that supports you, and from it you can rise higher than ever before. Rock bottom is rarely comfortable, but it is always transformative. The emotions, revelations, and clarity that emerge from this low point are invaluable tools for personal growth. They force you to examine your life honestly, identify patterns, and prioritize what truly matters. With self-awareness, emotional honesty, and deliberate reflection, you can convert the raw material of despair into the bricks of a solid foundation. In this way, the lowest point in your life becomes not a place of defeat, but a starting point for empowerment, resilience, and transformation. Understanding rock bottom is not about celebrating pain or glorifying failure. It is about recognizing its potential. It is about knowing that you have arrived at a point of clarity, insight, and opportunity that is rare and precious. From this place, you can rebuild with intention, courage, and purpose. You can construct a life that is more aligned, more resilient, and more authentic than ever before. This is the promise of rock bottom. It is not the end of your story, but the foundation for the next most powerful chapter. Chapter 2: Accepting Reality Without Resistance. There comes a moment in every journey of transformation when the truth hits with undeniable clarity. Resistance is costing you more than you realize. After hitting rock bottom, it is natural to want to push back, to fight against circumstances, to rail against fate, or to replay what-if scenarios endlessly in your mind. You may find yourself asking, "Why me?" or "This isn't fair," and it is easy to get lost in the swirl of anger, frustration, or self-pity. Yet the paradox of growth is that the first step toward building a new life is not resistance, it is acceptance. Accepting reality does not mean resignation, weakness, or giving up. It means seeing the world as it is, seeing yourself as you are, and choosing to act from clarity rather than denial. Acceptance is often misunderstood. Many believe that accepting a situation is synonymous with surrendering, a passive acknowledgement that nothing can change. But true acceptance is neither passive nor fatalistic. It is an active engagement with reality. It requires courage to face the unvarnished truth of your life, to admit where you have fallen, where you have made mistakes, and where circumstances have shifted beyond your control. It is about acknowledging your emotions honestly, even when they are painful, without judgment or distortion. Acceptance is the foundation for change because it grounds you in the present moment, rather than keeping you chained to fantasies of how life should have been. The first obstacle to acceptance is often denial. Denial provides temporary comfort by allowing you to imagine that the world is not as harsh as it seems. You tell yourself, "It will get better on its own," or "If I ignore it, maybe it will go away." Denial can feel safe in the short term, but it traps you in stagnation. The longer you resist the truth, the longer your energy is consumed by futile attempts to avoid reality. Accepting that something has happened, no matter how painful, is not giving up. It is reclaiming your energy and directing it toward what you can influence. Blame is another common pitfall. It is tempting to point fingers at others, at circumstances, at life itself, but externalizing responsibility keeps you powerless. When you blame, you give away your control over the situation and delay the growth that comes from reflection and ownership. Acceptance requires that you pause and examine your role in what has occurred, not to shame yourself, but to understand and learn. By owning your part, however small or imperfect, you reclaim agency and empower yourself to make the next step constructive rather than reactive. Self-pity is yet another barrier to acceptance. It whispers that your pain is unfair, that you are uniquely unfortunate, and that the world owes you redemption. While empathy for yourself is essential, indulgence in self-pity traps you in a victim mindset. Growth cannot flourish in a space dominated by despair. Acceptance, on the other hand, invites you to feel your emotions fully, to honor the depth of your struggle, and to then move forward with intentionality. Self-compassion is a key companion here. It allows you to acknowledge the difficulty of your experience without letting it define your potential. Mindfulness is a powerful tool in developing true acceptance. By cultivating awareness of your thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations, you begin to observe your experiences without judgment or distortion. Mindfulness allows you to see reality clearly, to notice when resistance arises, and to redirect your focus toward constructive responses. When practiced consistently, mindfulness creates a mental space where acceptance becomes natural rather than forced. It strengthens your capacity to sit with discomfort, to process emotions, and to act with intention instead of reacting impulsively to fear, anger, or grief. Emotional processing is another essential practice. Acceptance is not about suppressing your feelings or pretending that pain does not exist. It is about experiencing your emotions fully, exploring their origins, and integrating them into your understanding of the situation. Journaling, reflection, or simply sitting quietly with your thoughts can reveal insights about patterns, choices, and areas for growth. When you process emotions rather than resist them, you prevent them from festering into resentment, anxiety, or self-sabotage. Acceptance becomes a tool for transformation, enabling you to convert emotional turmoil into wisdom and clarity. Embracing acceptance also reframes your perception of control. Life will always present circumstances beyond your influence. The sooner you acknowledge what is outside your control, the sooner you can focus on what is within your power. This mindset is liberating. It allows you to stop fighting against the current, and instead use its momentum to propel yourself forward. Resistance keeps you stuck in struggle. Acceptance allows you to respond strategically, building resilience and strength from a grounded understanding of your reality. One of the most profound aspects of acceptance is that it shifts the narrative from victimhood to empowerment. When you stop resisting, you stop wasting energy on what cannot be changed. Instead, your focus turns toward constructive action, personal responsibility, and intentional growth. Acceptance does not erase pain, but it transforms the meaning of pain. It teaches you that hardship can be a teacher, setbacks can be a springboard, and clarity can emerge from chaos. When you accept your circumstances fully, you create a stable foundation for building a life that is stronger, more aligned, and more resilient than before. It is important to remember that acceptance is a process, not a single act. It is not something that happens once and is complete. It is a daily practice, a choice repeated with diligence and courage. Some days acceptance will feel effortless. On others, it will feel like a battle against your own mind. This is natural. Growth is rarely linear, and the path from rock bottom to empowerment is paved with moments of doubt, frustration, and discomfort. The key is persistence, returning to acceptance over and over, until it becomes the lens through which you view every challenge. Acceptance also strengthens self-trust. When you can face reality honestly, without avoidance or distortion, you demonstrate to yourself that you are capable of navigating life's difficulties. You learn that you can endure hardship without collapsing, that your decisions can be grounded in clarity, and that your emotions, even when intense, do not have to control you. This self-trust is the bedrock of resilience. It is the quiet confidence that allows you to move forward deliberately, even when the path is uncertain or the future is unclear. Motivation grows naturally from acceptance. When resistance is removed, you see opportunities that were previously obscured by fear, denial, or self-pity. You begin to notice options, solutions, and possibilities that were invisible while you were struggling against reality. Acceptance clarifies priorities and aligns action with values. It allows you to identify the areas of life where effort will have the greatest impact, to invest energy in rebuilding rather than resisting, and to act with intention rather than reaction. In this way, acceptance is not a resignation to circumstance, it is an embrace of possibility. Finally, acceptance allows you to cultivate patience and compassion, both toward yourself and others. By letting go of the illusion that life must unfold according to your timeline or expectations, you free yourself from unnecessary suffering. You learn to honor your progress, however small, and to recognize that rebuilding takes time, effort, and consistent attention. Compassion for yourself reinforces acceptance, and together they create a mindset that is grounded, resilient, and open to growth. In the context of rebuilding from rock bottom, acceptance is not a passive state, it is the foundation for action. It allows you to see clearly, feel fully, and respond deliberately. It shifts energy away from resistance and toward construction. It transforms despair into insight, confusion into clarity, and fear into determination. Without acceptance, attempts at rebuilding are fragmented, reactive, and often short-lived. With acceptance, every decision, every effort, and every step forward is informed by reality, grounded in self-awareness and aligned with your true values. The journey through acceptance is a journey toward empowerment. By embracing reality as it is, you reclaim your energy, your focus, and your agency. You move from being buffeted by circumstances to steering your life with clarity and intention. You learn that hitting rock bottom is not a sentence, but an invitation to see clearly, act intentionally, and build a foundation that is unshakable. Each day that you choose acceptance, you practice resilience, strengthen self-trust, and lay another brick in the structure of your renewed life. Acceptance is not easy. It may feel uncomfortable, counterintuitive, or even impossible at times. But it is essential. It is the pivot point between despair and empowerment, between stagnation and growth, between being overwhelmed by circumstances and using them as a foundation for transformation. When you accept reality without resistance, you give yourself the greatest gift possible: clarity, freedom, and the capacity to build a life that is stronger, wiser, and more aligned than ever before. Chapter 3: Reframing Failure as Fuel. Failure is an experience that almost everyone dreads. It arrives with discomfort, disappointment, and sometimes embarrassment. It can make us question our abilities, our choices, and even our worth. We see it as a verdict, a sign that we are inadequate or incapable. And yet, failure is one of the most powerful catalysts for growth, transformation, and eventual success. The truth is that failure, when approached with the right mindset, is not a dead end, it is fuel. It contains insights, lessons, and opportunities that can ignite the next chapter of your life. The challenge is learning to see it that way, to shift perspective, and to harness the energy of setbacks rather than being consumed by them. The first step in reframing failure is understanding that failure is not a reflection of your identity. Often when things go wrong, we internalize the experience, telling ourselves, "I am a failure." This is a trap that keeps many people stagnant, mired in self-doubt, and paralyzed by fear of attempting anything new. In reality, failure is a temporary outcome, a snapshot of a moment in time, not a declaration of your inherent worth or potential. Separating your sense of self from your experiences allows you to view failures objectively, as data points, not judgments. When you detach your identity from outcomes, you create the mental space to examine mistakes, analyze circumstances, and extract value from the experience. Reframing failure requires a conscious shift in perspective. Instead of saying, "I failed," start asking, "What can I learn from this?" or "How can this experience inform my next step?" This simple linguistic change has profound psychological effects. It moves your mind from a state of self-criticism to curiosity, turning emotional weight into actionable insight. Failure becomes a teacher rather than an oppressor. It allows you to see each misstep not as a catastrophe, but as an opportunity to gather information, refine strategies, and develop resilience. The question transforms from "Why me?" to "What now?" and from helplessness to empowerment. Consider the stories of individuals who faced immense setbacks, yet emerged stronger. Thomas Edison, one of history's most prolific inventors, is famously quoted as saying, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Each unsuccessful experiment was not a loss, but a step closer to success. Edison's willingness to embrace failure as part of the process allowed him to transform setbacks into breakthroughs. Similarly, J.K. Rowling faced multiple rejections before Harry Potter was published. Each no was not a stop sign but a stepping stone, forcing her to refine her manuscript, deepen her resolve, and ultimately achieve unprecedented success. These examples reveal a fundamental truth: failure is rarely final unless we allow it to be. When we view it as fuel, it becomes a source of energy, motivation, and insight. Reframing failure also requires honesty. To learn from a setback, you must examine it fully, without minimizing or exaggerating. Avoid excuses that distort reality, and resist the temptation to blame circumstances or others entirely. Acknowledge what went wrong, consider your own role, and identify the specific elements that can be improved or adjusted. This is not about self-punishment, it is about gaining clarity. Understanding the mechanics of a failure allows you to take control of your future choices and make informed adjustments. Without reflection, failure remains a mystery, and its lessons are lost. One of the most powerful aspects of reframing failure is that it cultivates resilience. Each setback becomes an opportunity to build strength, perseverance, and adaptability. The more you approach failures as feedback, the less intimidating they become. You begin to understand that setbacks are not permanent roadblocks, but temporary challenges that provide critical information for growth. Resilience grows when you respond to adversity with reflection, strategy, and continued effort, rather than avoidance or resignation. Over time, this mindset creates a sense of confidence and courage. You learn to trust your capacity to navigate challenges, to recover, and to progress even in the face of uncertainty. Practical reframing techniques can make this process tangible. One approach is to write down what went wrong, and then list at least 3 lessons or insights derived from the experience. Another is to reframe emotionally charged thoughts into neutral or positive statements. For example, "I can't believe I failed at this project" becomes, "This project did not go as planned, and here is what I can do differently next time." Visualization can also help. Imagine your failure as a stepping stone or a building block in the larger structure of your life. These exercises train your mind to see failure as a resource rather than a threat. It is important to recognize that not all failures are equal. Some setbacks are minor and easily corrected, while others may carry deeper consequences. The weight of a failure does not diminish its potential as a teacher. Even profound losses, when examined thoughtfully, provide insights into personal values, priorities, and areas of untapped potential. They reveal vulnerabilities, illuminate patterns, and force a confrontation with reality that is necessary for meaningful growth. The key is to approach every setback, regardless of scale, with curiosity, reflection, and intentionality. Failure also offers clarity about your true goals and values. When things go wrong, it often exposes misalignment between your actions and your deeper priorities. Perhaps you invested energy into a path that others encouraged, only to discover it does not resonate with your authentic desires. Or maybe you relied too heavily on external validation rather than internal guidance, resulting in outcomes that felt hollow. These revelations, while uncomfortable, are invaluable. They provide a roadmap for redirecting your efforts, aligning your actions with your purpose, and building a life that is more authentic and fulfilling. The emotional dimension of reframing failure is equally significant. Many people carry shame, regret, or fear long after a setback. These emotions, if left unaddressed, can prevent the lessons of failure from taking root. Emotional processing is essential. Allow yourself to feel disappointment, sadness, or frustration fully. Reflect on the experience without judgment, and then consciously redirect your energy toward understanding and growth. By acknowledging your emotions, you prevent them from becoming barriers, and instead transform them into fuel for forward momentum. Another essential component is persistence. Reframing failure as fuel is not a one-time decision, it is a continuous practice. Life will inevitably present new challenges, mistakes, and setbacks. Each time, you have the opportunity to apply the lessons of previous experiences, to refine your strategies, and to approach obstacles with greater wisdom and confidence. The accumulation of these small, intentional reframes builds a momentum that propels you toward success. Failure becomes not a deterrent, but a compass, guiding you toward more effective action and deeper self-understanding. The concept of reframing failure also intersects with creativity and innovation. In order to innovate, one must take risks, experiment, and inevitably encounter failures. Artists, entrepreneurs, and pioneers often face repeated setbacks before achieving breakthroughs. When failure is embraced as a natural and informative part of the process, it encourages experimentation, boldness, and the courage to pursue unconventional paths. By shifting perspective, what once seemed like defeat transforms into insight that expands your possibilities. Motivation grows naturally from this approach. When you view failure as fuel, each setback becomes a source of energy. Instead of being depleted by disappointment, you are energized by the opportunity to learn, improve, and progress. You become proactive rather than reactive, intentional rather than paralyzed. Reframing fosters a mindset of growth rather than limitation, helping you see challenges as invitations to deepen your skills, strengthen your character, and clarify your purpose. Ultimately, reframing failure is about reclaiming control. You cannot always control outcomes, but you can control your response. By choosing to see setbacks as opportunities for learning, reflection, and growth, you shift power back into your hands. You move from being a passive observer of misfortune to an active architect of your life. This shift is empowering. It transforms fear into curiosity, frustration into strategy, and despair into motivation. As you continue your journey from rock bottom, remember that every failure contains embedded lessons. Every setback carries information that can guide your next step. Every disappointment is an invitation to reflect, adjust, and improve. By embracing failure as fuel, you transform the raw material of adversity into the building blocks of resilience, confidence, and eventual success. The path forward is illuminated not by the absence of failure, but by the wisdom you extract from each misstep along the way. Failure is not the enemy, resistance to learning from it is. By reframing your perception, cultivating reflection, processing emotions, and applying insights, you convert what once felt like an endpoint into a springboard. You learn to rise from setbacks stronger, wiser, and more prepared to achieve meaningful progress. In this sense, failure is not the opposite of success. It is the precursor to it, the catalyst that forces growth, innovation, and self-discovery. In every chapter of life, setbacks will arise. Some may shake you to your core, others may seem minor in the moment but have long-term consequences. Regardless of the scale, each provides an opportunity, a lesson, a perspective, a fuel source for the next step. By choosing to reframe failure as fuel, you arm yourself with resilience, wisdom, and the confidence to face challenges boldly. You turn what was once feared into a tool for empowerment. You see that the floor beneath you is not a trap, but a foundation upon which you can construct a life that is stronger, more aligned, and more fulfilling than you ever imagined. Failure, then, is not an end, it is an invitation. An invitation to observe, reflect, extract insights, and act with intention. It is a teacher that does not lecture in comfort, but in challenge. It is the spark that ignites courage, creativity, and growth. And when you choose to harness it, failure becomes more than a setback. It becomes the fuel that propels you from rock bottom to heights you may never have thought possible. Chapter 4: Discovering Your Inner Strength. When life strips away the familiar, when circumstances overwhelm and setbacks accumulate, it is easy to feel powerless. At times like these, it can seem as though the world has decided you are incapable, that your limits have been exposed, or that your dreams are permanently out of reach. Yet, in these moments of adversity, an extraordinary truth quietly awaits: you are stronger than you know. Rock bottom is not only a place of loss, it is also a place of revelation, a space where your resilience, courage, and hidden capacities begin to emerge. Discovering your inner strength is not about suddenly becoming fearless or invincible. It is about recognizing and nurturing the enduring qualities that have carried you this far, and learning to rely on them intentionally to rebuild and grow. Inner strength is multifaceted. It encompasses the ability to endure hardship, to adapt under stress, and to continue forward even when the path is uncertain. Psychologists often describe this strength in terms of resilience, the capacity to recover from adversity. Resilience is not a fixed trait. It is a dynamic skill cultivated through experience, reflection, and deliberate practice. When you confront challenges, face discomfort, and navigate uncertainty, you are already exercising resilience, even if it feels invisible at the time. Understanding that you have survived difficulties before is the first step in acknowledging that you possess the inner resources to rise again. Courage is another pillar of inner strength. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the willingness to act in spite of it. When you have faced failure, rejection, or disappointment, the act of continuing to move forward, even in small tentative steps, is itself an expression of courage. Each decision to confront reality, to engage with your emotions, and to pursue growth despite setbacks reinforces this quality. Courage grows through action. The more you practice it, the more readily it becomes a part of your daily life. It transforms fear from a paralyzing force into a signal that you are pushing the boundaries of what you thought was possible. Emotional fortitude is also a key component of inner strength. Life's challenges are rarely limited to practical or external obstacles. They often test our emotional endurance as well. Grief, disappointment, loneliness, and uncertainty all demand that we maintain composure, adapt, and recover. Emotional fortitude does not mean suppressing these feelings. It means observing them, processing them, and continuing to act with clarity and intention. When you develop emotional fortitude, you learn that difficult emotions can coexist with productive action, and that vulnerability is not weakness, but a source of insight and connection. Stress adaptation, a concept explored in psychology, illuminates another aspect of inner strength. Humans are wired to respond to challenges through physiological and mental mechanisms. Our fight-or-flight responses, problem-solving skills, and adaptive behaviors all evolved to help us survive. When stress is managed effectively, it can enhance focus, motivation, and resilience. Conversely, when stress overwhelms, it can lead to anxiety, paralysis, or burnout. Recognizing this balance allows you to harness stress as a tool rather than a threat. Each time you navigate pressure, make difficult decisions, or endure hardship, you are training your mind and body to adapt, enhancing your capacity to respond to future challenges with greater poise and confidence. Grit, often described as sustained passion and perseverance for long-term goals, is closely tied to discovering your inner strength. Life's setbacks often require prolonged effort, repeated adjustments, and unwavering commitment to growth. Grit allows you to persist when immediate rewards are absent, when obstacles appear insurmountable, and when progress seems slow. Every small step you take after a setback, every effort to reflect, improve, or act despite fear strengthens your grit. It is cumulative, building over time into a powerful force that propels you forward, even in the face of adversity. Recognizing your inner strength begins with awareness. Often, people overlook the ways in which they have already demonstrated resilience. Pause and reflect on your life. Think of challenges you have survived, fears you have confronted, and difficulties you have navigated. Perhaps you endured a demanding career transition, weathered a broken relationship, or faced a personal loss that seemed impossible to overcome. Each of these experiences required inner resources, courage, determination, patience, and resilience that you likely underappreciated at the time. Writing down these examples, no matter how small they seem, provides concrete evidence that strength already resides within you. Small victories are essential in rebuilding confidence and reinforcing inner strength. When recovering from rock bottom, the path forward can feel overwhelming if we only focus on the magnitude of change required. Instead, identify daily accomplishments, no matter how modest. Completing a difficult task, confronting a fear, or simply maintaining a positive mindset in a challenging situation are all indicators of strength. These small wins accumulate, creating momentum and reminding you that you are capable. By recognizing and celebrating these moments intentionally, you train your mind to see competence, resilience, and capability as intrinsic qualities rather than external gifts. Another method to cultivate inner strength is through deliberate reflection on adversity. Ask yourself, what qualities allowed me to endure this challenge? How did I respond when things were difficult? What did I discover about myself that I did not know before? Reflection transforms hardship from a source of suffering into a source of insight. It illuminates the personal traits, strategies, and habits that empower you to continue. Over time, this awareness strengthens self-trust, which is essential for sustained growth. When you know that you have survived before, you begin to trust that you can navigate future difficulties with equal or greater competence. Visualization exercises can also reinforce inner strength. Imagine yourself confronting obstacles with calm, determination, and clarity. Picture yourself navigating uncertainty, making wise decisions, and emerging from adversity stronger and more confident. Visualization primes your mind to act in alignment with your strengths, reinforcing resilience and courage. The brain cannot always distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and real experiences. By rehearsing your response to challenges, you increase your ability to act effectively when difficulties arise. It is also valuable to cultivate a sense of agency in the face of adversity. Inner strength flourishes when you understand that, regardless of circumstances, you have choices. You may not control the world around you, but you can control your actions, mindset, and focus. Each decision to act intentionally, each choice to respond with resilience rather than surrender, strengthens your internal foundation. By exercising agency in even small ways, you reinforce the belief that you are capable, resourceful, and empowered to shape your life. Support systems can amplify your inner strength without replacing it. Seeking guidance, mentorship, or encouragement does not diminish your capacity. It reinforces it by providing perspective and feedback. Engaging with others who have faced adversity and emerged stronger can inspire and motivate you. Their stories demonstrate that resilience, courage, and growth are possible, even in the most difficult circumstances. However, the ultimate source of strength must reside within, and your growth is most sustainable when grounded in self-awareness, self-trust, and deliberate action. Physical well-being also plays a crucial role in inner strength. Stress, fatigue, and neglect of the body can erode resilience, focus, and emotional fortitude. Practices such as exercise, nutrition, rest, and mindfulness enhance both mental and physical capacity to endure challenges. By caring for your body, you reinforce the connection between mind and resilience, supporting sustained action and reinforcing the sense that you are capable of meeting adversity with strength and clarity. Discovering inner strength is not about becoming unbreakable. It is about developing the capacity to bend without shattering, to adapt without losing direction, and to continue forward with courage despite uncertainty. Every difficulty you encounter is an opportunity to exercise these qualities. Every challenge tests your endurance and sharpens your resourcefulness. Over time, what once felt insurmountable becomes manageable, what once provoked fear becomes familiar, and what once seemed impossible becomes achievable. Ultimately, discovering your inner strength transforms the narrative of your life. You shift from seeing yourself as a passive victim of circumstance to recognizing yourself as an active agent of growth. You begin to trust your ability to endure, to act, and to thrive even when conditions are difficult. You realize that setbacks are not permanent defeats, but invitations to dig deeper, to harness your latent potential, and to construct a life that reflects resilience, courage, and purpose. Inner strength is a muscle. Like any muscle, it grows through consistent effort, practice, and challenge. By intentionally confronting discomfort, reflecting on past victories, celebrating small wins, and exercising resilience and courage daily, you cultivate an unshakable foundation. This foundation not only carries you through immediate hardships, but also equips you for future challenges, enabling you to navigate life with confidence, poise, and clarity. In the journey from rock bottom, inner strength is the bridge between despair and empowerment. It is the compass that guides your next steps, the fuel that sustains action, and the anchor that holds you steady in the storm. When you recognize, nurture, and trust your inner capacities, you no longer fear setbacks, you welcome them as opportunities to practice resilience, courage, and grit. You begin to see yourself as capable, resourceful, and equipped to transform challenges into triumphs. The discovery of inner strength is both liberating and empowering. It allows you to navigate uncertainty with confidence, to respond to adversity with insight, and to pursue growth with deliberate intention. It teaches you that you are not defined by failures, losses, or rock-bottom moments, but by the enduring qualities you summon in response. By cultivating resilience, emotional fortitude, courage, and grit, you transform the raw material of hardship into a foundation of lasting empowerment. Your journey to rediscover your inner strength begins now. It begins with awareness of your past victories, recognition of your enduring qualities, and a commitment to practice resilience, courage, and perseverance daily. It begins with the choice to trust yourself, to act intentionally, and to harness the power within to rebuild, grow, and thrive. Rock bottom is not your end, it is your proving ground. And within it lies the extraordinary strength you need to rise higher than you ever imagined. Chapter 5: Letting Go of Limiting Beliefs. Hitting rock bottom is not just a collapse of circumstances. It is a mirror that reveals the stories we tell ourselves, the beliefs we cling to, and the patterns that have held us back. When life falls apart, the illusions of certainty, control, and competence are stripped away, leaving raw, unfiltered reality. In that space, it becomes apparent how many of our struggles are not solely external, but internal. They are the product of beliefs we have inherited, absorbed, or created, beliefs that define who we think we are, what we think we deserve, and what we think we are capable of. These limiting beliefs, often invisible until we confront failure or loss, can imprison us more effectively than any circumstance. The journey from rock bottom, then, is also a journey inward, a deliberate process of identifying, challenging, and releasing the mental chains that prevent growth and transformation. Limiting beliefs are mental constructs that define boundaries we accept for ourselves without questioning. They whisper, sometimes so quietly that we barely notice, "You are not capable, you don't deserve happiness," or "This is too hard for you." They are the invisible scripts that shape our decisions, our behaviors, and our perception of reality. Some limiting beliefs are inherited from parents, teachers, or cultural norms. Others are the result of early failures, criticism, or experiences that left an imprint on our self-image. Over time, these beliefs calcify, becoming automatic responses that dictate how we approach challenges, opportunities, and even relationships. Rock bottom exposes these beliefs vividly. When our usual coping mechanisms fail, when external validation disappears, and when familiar structures crumble, the limitations we have internalized become undeniable. Perhaps we realize we have been holding ourselves back with self-doubt, fear of failure, or avoidance. Perhaps we see how we have repeatedly chosen paths that feel safe, but unfulfilling because we did not believe in our capacity to succeed. This confrontation, though uncomfortable, is liberating. Recognizing that these mental barriers exist is the first step in dismantling them. Awareness is the spark that allows transformation to begin. Challenging limiting beliefs starts with questioning their validity. Often we accept these beliefs as facts, never pausing to ask whether they are true or necessary. Begin by identifying the beliefs that arise in moments of fear, hesitation, or self-doubt. Ask yourself, is this belief based on evidence or assumption? Does it reflect my current reality, or an outdated narrative? When you examine these thoughts critically, you often find they are exaggerations, distortions, or outright falsehoods. Understanding that a belief is not an immutable truth is empowering. It creates the space to replace it with a narrative that serves growth rather than restriction. One powerful technique for challenging limiting beliefs is reframing. Reframing transforms negative, disempowering thoughts into constructive, empowering statements. For example, a belief like, "I always fail when I try something new," can be reframed as, "Every attempt I make teaches me something valuable and brings me closer to success." Similarly, "I'm not talented enough" becomes, "I have the capacity to learn, grow, and develop my skills with practice and effort." Reframing does not ignore reality. It contextualizes setbacks as temporary, learnable experiences, rather than permanent indictments of ability or worth. Over time, consistently practicing this shift rewires the mind to focus on possibility and potential rather than limitation. Journaling is another effective tool for releasing limiting beliefs. Writing allows thoughts to surface and be examined objectively. Begin by noting recurring self-critical statements, fears, or doubts. Then, for each one, challenge its truth and articulate a more empowering alternative. For example, if you write, "I'll never recover from this failure," follow it with a statement like, "I am learning from this experience and I have the strength and resources to move forward." This process externalizes thoughts, transforming them from subconscious influences into conscious choices, and gradually weakens the grip of restrictive beliefs. Visualization exercises can complement journaling. Imagine yourself acting as if the limiting belief no longer exists. Visualize pursuing goals confidently, making decisions freely, and embracing challenges without hesitation. This mental rehearsal trains the brain to operate within a new framework of possibility. By repeatedly imagining success and agency, you strengthen the neural pathways associated with confidence, courage, and self-efficacy, replacing the old restrictive narratives that have constrained your actions. Another critical strategy is exposing beliefs to reality through action. Limiting beliefs often thrive in abstraction. They gain power when left untested. Taking small, intentional steps outside the comfort zone challenges these beliefs empirically. For instance, if you believe, "I can't handle public speaking," deliberately seek opportunities to speak in front of supportive audiences, gradually increasing exposure. Each successful experience acts as evidence that contradicts the old belief, gradually weakening its influence. Action, paired with reflection, becomes a potent mechanism for transformation. Self-compassion is an essential component in this process. As you confront limiting beliefs, it is natural to encounter resistance, frustration, or feelings of inadequacy. Recognize that these beliefs developed as survival mechanisms. They were created, often unconsciously, to protect you from perceived danger or failure. Treat yourself with kindness as you dismantle them, acknowledging your courage and persistence. Self-compassion reduces the emotional intensity of challenging outdated beliefs, creating a safer internal environment for growth and change. Limiting beliefs are rarely isolated. They exist in clusters that reinforce each other. For example, a belief that I am not good enough may support fears of rejection, failure, or criticism. When you challenge one belief, explore the network of related beliefs and narratives. Addressing these patterns holistically prevents old narratives from reasserting themselves and allows for a more comprehensive mental transformation. By systematically examining the interconnected stories that govern your thinking, you can begin to replace them with narratives that empower, inspire, and propel forward momentum. The role of mindset in transforming limiting beliefs cannot be overstated. Adopting a growth-oriented mindset, seeing challenges as opportunities, setbacks as feedback, and abilities as improvable creates fertile ground for lasting change. Limiting beliefs often persist because the mind interprets failure as permanent and ability as fixed. By consciously cultivating a growth mindset, you reframe challenges as learning experiences and develop the resilience necessary to embrace risk, innovate, and recover from setbacks. Growth-oriented thinking converts rock-bottom experiences from sources of despair into platforms for personal development. Affirmations, when thoughtfully crafted and consistently applied, can reinforce the new empowering narratives. Unlike empty or superficial statements, affirmations rooted in self-awareness and reflection strengthen beliefs in capability, resilience, and potential. Examples might include, I am capable of learning from every challenge, my past does not define my future, or I choose thoughts that empower me to grow. When repeated with intention, affirmations act as reminders that you are shifting the framework of your mind and creating a mental environment conducive to growth. It is also valuable to consider the influence of external voices on your internal beliefs. Family, peers, and societal expectations can reinforce limiting narratives. Part of letting go of these beliefs involves consciously evaluating the sources of your thoughts, which are truly yours, and which have been imposed or absorbed from others. By separating inherited beliefs from self-generated ones, you gain clarity about which narratives deserve your energy and which are relics that no longer serve you. This discernment strengthens self-authorship, allowing you to consciously curate the beliefs that shape your actions and decisions. Letting go of limiting beliefs is not a one-time event but a continual process. Life will inevitably present new challenges, and old narratives may resurface under stress. The practice of awareness, reflection, and intentional thought is ongoing. Every time a limiting belief appears, you have the opportunity to confront it, reframe it, and replace it with a more empowering alternative. Over time, this consistent engagement rewires thought patterns, strengthens resilience, and builds a foundation for sustained growth and confidence. Importantly, mindset transformation must be paired with practical steps. Releasing limiting beliefs is not purely mental, it must manifest in action. Identify goals, develop strategies, and take measurable steps toward them. Each small success reinforces the new beliefs you are cultivating and provides tangible evidence of your capability. Action validates your mental transformation, creating a positive feedback loop that strengthens both confidence and competence. The journey from rock bottom is, at its core, a journey of liberation. Letting go of limiting beliefs releases the mental weight that has kept you constrained, allowing you to move with clarity, confidence, and purpose. It enables you to see your experiences not as proof of inadequacy, but as tools for insight, growth, and empowerment. By dismantling old narratives, challenging self-doubt, and embracing new supportive beliefs, you reclaim your agency, unlock potential, and transform setbacks into stepping stones. The final truth about limiting beliefs is that they are not permanent. They are learned patterns subject to change, adaptation, and replacement. The more consciously you engage with your thoughts, the more you strengthen the narratives that serve your growth. Each insight, action, and reflection builds momentum, reinforcing the idea that your life is not dictated by fear, doubt, or limitation, but by courage, determination, and the willingness to rewrite your story. In discovering and releasing these beliefs, you will notice profound changes. Decisions that once felt risky now appear manageable. Goals that once seemed unattainable now feel within reach. Challenges that once paralyzed you now become opportunities to demonstrate resilience and creativity. Letting go of limiting beliefs is not only about overcoming rock bottom, it is about redefining the boundaries of what you believe is possible, creating a mindset capable of sustaining transformation and empowering lifelong growth. By confronting and dismantling limiting beliefs, you equip yourself with the mental and emotional tools necessary to rise from rock bottom with confidence, clarity, and purpose. You realize that the obstacles you once feared were never insurmountable. They were invitations to examine your mind, refine your thinking, and step fully into your potential. You learn that the greatest barriers are often internal, and by releasing them, you open the door to resilience, opportunity, and lasting transformation. The power of this work lies in its dual impact. As you let go of old beliefs, you not only free yourself from self-imposed limitations, but you also create space for new, empowering narratives that sustain growth. This is the moment when rock bottom transforms from a place of despair into a foundation for building a life defined by possibility, agency, and inner strength. You move forward with intention, guided by belief in your own capacity, reinforced by action, and energized by the knowledge that your mind is a tool for growth rather than a cage of limitation. Letting go of limiting beliefs is liberation. It is the conscious choice to rise above old patterns, embrace your potential, and claim authority over your life. It is the moment when fear, doubt, and hesitation lose their grip, and you step into the reality that you are capable, worthy, and ready to thrive. The foundation you build from rock bottom is not simply recovery, it is transformation, strengthened by clarity, courage, and belief in yourself. Chapter 6: Setting Your Foundation, Values and Vision. When you have reached rock bottom, the path forward can feel uncertain, chaotic, or even impossible to navigate. The old structures that once guided your decisions, expectations, routines, or the approval of others may have crumbled. In that emptiness lies a profound opportunity, the chance to rebuild deliberately, intentionally, and authentically. The first step in creating a life that rises stronger from hardship is to establish a foundation rooted in clarity, purpose, and aligned vision. Without a firm foundation, any effort to grow or rebuild risks being scattered, reactive, or misaligned with who you truly are. Setting your foundation is not simply about planning for the future, it is about understanding yourself deeply, choosing consciously, and anchoring your life in principles that sustain you through both success and adversity. At the heart of this foundation are your core values. Values are the compass that guides your actions, decisions, and relationships. They are the principles you hold most dearly, the ideals that shape your sense of meaning and purpose. Values might include honesty, courage, compassion, creativity, perseverance, or autonomy. They are not what others tell you to prioritize, but what resonates deeply within your own sense of integrity. When your decisions, habits, and goals are aligned with your core values, you experience coherence, confidence, and resilience. Conversely, when your actions conflict with your values, stress, dissatisfaction, and a sense of disconnection often arise. Defining your values begins with reflection. Consider moments when you felt fully alive, proud, or fulfilled. What qualities were present in those experiences? What principles guided your choices, actions, or behaviors in those moments? Similarly, reflect on times when you felt frustrated, resentful, or depleted. What values were being compromised or ignored? Through this process, you begin to identify the beliefs and principles that matter most to you. It may take time and introspection, but clarity in your values is the bedrock upon which sustainable growth is built. Once your values are clear, the next step is creating a personal vision, a blueprint that defines not only what you want to achieve, but who you want to become. A vision is not a rigid plan or a list of goals. It is an aspirational, guiding picture of your ideal life, rooted in purpose and authenticity. Your vision serves as a reference point for decision-making, helping you prioritize what truly matters over distractions, obligations, or external pressures. It provides clarity in moments of uncertainty and motivates action when challenges arise. When constructing your vision, it is essential to integrate your values into every dimension. Ask yourself, how would I live if I fully embodied my values? What choices, relationships, and pursuits would align with the person I want to become? Envisioning your life through this lens ensures that your goals are meaningful, intrinsically motivating, and aligned with your authentic self rather than external expectations or superficial markers of success. Intentionality is the connective tissue between your values and your vision. Setting a foundation requires conscious decisions in every area of life, from daily habits to long-term plans. Each choice you make, no matter how small, either strengthens or weakens the foundation you are building. Waking up with purpose, committing to consistent routines, saying no to distractions, and prioritizing actions that align with your values are all expressions of intentionality. When intentionality becomes a habit, your foundation becomes unshakable. It ensures that setbacks, external pressures, or unanticipated challenges do not derail your growth because your actions are rooted in principles rather than impulses. Relationships are a vital component of this foundation. Surrounding yourself with individuals who respect, support, and reflect your values enhances your capacity to stay aligned. Conversely, relationships that undermine your principles or drain your energy can weaken the foundation. Part of setting your foundation is evaluating your connections and intentionally nurturing those that foster growth, mutual respect, and authenticity. Aligning relationships with values does not mean cutting out all challenges or differences. It means prioritizing the people who contribute positively to your vision, while maintaining boundaries that protect your integrity. Habits, too, are foundational elements. They translate intention into action and values into lived experience. Small, consistent practices, whether related to health, learning, productivity, or emotional well-being, compound over time, creating momentum and reinforcing your sense of agency. Habits are the scaffolding that supports long-term growth. When habits are aligned with values and vision, they become more than routines. They become affirmations of who you are and what you stand for. Conversely, habits that are misaligned or reactive can destabilize your foundation, leaving you vulnerable to setbacks and drift. Anchoring future actions in principles also involves embracing self-accountability. Rock bottom often reveals patterns of avoidance, denial, or reliance on external validation. Setting a foundation requires the courage to take full responsibility for your growth and outcomes. Accountability is not self-punishment. It is acknowledgement of your agency and a commitment to honor your values consistently. By holding yourself accountable, you reinforce the link between action and principle, ensuring that your foundation is maintained regardless of external circumstances. Vision without action remains abstract. To translate your vision into reality, Identify specific steps that embody your values. Break down your aspirations into actionable goals, routines and decisions that reflect the person you want to become. For example, if one of your core values is courage, include actions that challenge you to step outside your comfort zone regularly. If creativity is central to your vision, dedicate time to projects that express and expand your creative capacities. These steps become the building blocks of your foundation, ensuring that growth is deliberate, measurable, and aligned with your authentic self. Resilience is reinforced when values and vision guide decisions. When challenges arise, and they will, clarity about your priorities and principles provides stability. Decisions become less reactive and more deliberate, and setbacks are interpreted as temporary obstacles rather than catastrophic failures. A solid foundation built on values and vision transforms adversity into a training ground for strength and wisdom. By rooting yourself in what matters most, you cultivate the ability to respond with courage and creativity, rather than fear and impulsivity. Visualization and reflection enhance the process of aligning values, vision, and action. Spend time imagining the life you want in vivid detail, the environment, the relationships, the accomplishments, and the emotions you wish to experience. Pair this with reflective practice, journaling, meditation, or contemplation, to evaluate whether your current actions, habits, and decisions are in alignment with that vision. This dynamic interplay between reflection and intentional action ensures that your foundation remains adaptive, resilient, and deeply personal. Another critical component of setting your foundation is embracing flexibility without compromise. Life is unpredictable, and circumstances will inevitably shift. Your values act as anchors, but your vision may require adjustment as you gain insight, encounter new opportunities, or face unforeseen obstacles. Flexibility allows you to navigate change without losing direction, while values provide the unwavering principles that ensure authenticity and integrity. This balance prevents rigidity, while maintaining the stability needed for sustainable growth. Finally, recognizing the connection between foundation and purpose is essential. Your values and vision provide meaning that transcends immediate circumstances or external validation. When your foundation is grounded in purpose, you approach life with confidence, clarity, and motivation, even in the absence of applause, approval, or guarantees. Purpose-infused foundations create resilience, cultivate joy, and ensure that your growth is not only possible but deeply fulfilling. Setting your foundation is therefore both an inward and outward process. Inwardly, it requires self-awareness, reflection, and clarity about what matters most. Outwardly, it involves intentional choices, aligned habits, supportive relationships, and purposeful action. When these elements converge, they create a platform from which you can rebuild after rock bottom, pursue meaningful goals, and thrive sustainably. This chapter emphasizes that rebuilding is not a matter of chance. It is an intentional process guided by clarity, principle, and vision. Every action, every decision, and every habit becomes an expression of who you are and who you aim to become. The more aligned your foundation is with your authentic self, the more resilient, purposeful, and empowered your journey will be. Rock bottom is not a dead end. It is a unique opportunity to lay a foundation so strong that it can support not only recovery, but extraordinary transformation. Your journey forward begins with reflection, clarity, and courage. Define your values, articulate your vision, align your actions, and build habits that reflect the person you aspire to be. Anchor yourself in principles that cannot be shaken by circumstance, and make each decision an affirmation of your purpose. By doing so, you transform uncertainty into direction, chaos into structure, and rock bottom into a solid platform for sustainable growth. The foundation you set today becomes the launchpad for your tomorrow. Values provide the moral and emotional scaffolding. Vision creates the blueprint for action. Intentional habits, relationships, and accountability solidify the structure. Each element reinforces the others, creating momentum and resilience. Through this process, you no longer rebuild reactively. You rebuild consciously, guided by clarity, purpose, and unwavering self-trust. In setting your foundation with values and vision, you empower yourself to rise higher than the circumstances that once held you down. You move from surviving rock bottom to thriving in life, creating a life that is not dictated by external pressures or past failures, but by intentional, aligned, and principled growth. This foundation is the most powerful investment you can make in your future, a resilient, purpose-driven base from which your potential can flourish, and from which you can face any challenge with confidence, courage, and clarity. Chapter 7: Rebuilding Daily Habits and Routines. When life has brought you to rock bottom, it can feel as though everything familiar has collapsed: your sense of control, your confidence, even your identity. In those moments, the mind often wanders, overwhelmed by the enormity of recovery, by the uncertainty of the future, or by fear of failure repeating itself. It is easy to believe that rebuilding must be done in grand gestures, monumental decisions, or sweeping changes. Yet the most profound transformations rarely occur overnight. They emerge from the quiet, consistent actions that anchor each day. Habits and routines, simple as they may seem, are the scaffolding that transforms chaos into structure, despair into momentum, and uncertainty into empowerment. The power of daily habits lies in their ability to create predictability and stability. When circumstances feel uncontrollable, habits become anchors. They provide structure for the mind, rhythm for the body, and consistency for the spirit. Imagine the difference between waking up without purpose versus waking up with a set of practices that nourish your physical health, mental clarity, and emotional resilience. Even the smallest deliberate actions, making your bed, journaling, taking a short walk, or practicing deep breathing, send signals to your brain that you are taking charge of your life. Over time, these micro-actions compound, creating momentum that feels unstoppable. Rebuilding daily habits begins with clarity of purpose. It is not enough to fill time with activity. The activities themselves must support your vision, values, and goals. Habits should reflect the person you want to become, rather than the person you were. This requires reflection. What practices will strengthen your mental fortitude, enhance your emotional balance, and cultivate physical well-being? What routines will ensure that each day moves you forward, however incrementally, toward reconstruction? The answer is unique to each individual, but the principle is universal. Intentional action creates stability, and stability breeds confidence. One of the first steps is designing morning and evening routines that set the tone for your day and anchor your mind before sleep. The morning is a critical window to prime your mindset, body, and focus. Consider starting the day with practices that align with growth: gentle exercise to energize the body, a few minutes of meditation or mindfulness to center your mind, journaling to clarify priorities, or reading an inspiring text to cultivate motivation. These habits do not need to be elaborate. Their power lies in consistency. Evening routines are equally important, providing closure to the day, reflection on progress, and preparation for rest. Activities such as reviewing accomplishments, noting lessons learned, or expressing gratitude cultivate resilience, perspective, and emotional balance. Small wins are the engine that drives confidence. Each habit completed, each routine observed, signals to your brain that you are capable of action, capable of change, and capable of growth. The compounding effect is extraordinary. Days build into weeks, weeks into months, and before long, momentum accelerates your recovery and transformation. Even minor habits, drinking water, making your bed, reading for 15 minutes, or responding kindly to yourself, can create ripple effects that influence mindset, productivity, and emotional stability. What seems insignificant in isolation becomes transformative over time. Consistency is more important than perfection. It is natural to face setbacks, interruptions, or lapses in routine. What matters is returning to the practice without judgment. Resilience is built in these moments. The ability to continue despite obstacles, the willingness to begin again, and the recognition that progress is not linear but cumulative. Each day you recommit to habits aligned with your growth strengthens your foundation, reinforces your identity as a person capable of reconstruction, and fosters self-trust. Emotional resilience is enhanced by habits that nurture self-awareness. Practices such as journaling, meditation, or reflection allow you to track patterns, identify triggers, and monitor your progress. Writing about your experiences illuminates insights, creates emotional release, and provides a tangible record of growth. Mindfulness practices cultivate presence, reduce reactivity, and increase clarity in decision-making. These mental and emotional routines support recovery from rock bottom by helping you navigate challenges with awareness rather than impulsivity. Physical well-being is equally foundational. Habits that support the body, regular exercise, balanced nutrition, hydration, and adequate sleep directly impact mental clarity, emotional stability, and energy levels. Physical routines are not about perfection or extreme discipline, they are about creating conditions that allow your mind and spirit to flourish. Exercise, even in small doses, releases endorphins that counter stress, elevate mood, and reinforce the perception that you are actively caring for yourself. Nourishing the body and respecting rest is a signal that your life matters, that you are worthy of care, and that rebuilding is possible. Time management is another essential aspect of routine. Establishing consistent periods for work, rest, learning, and reflection creates rhythm and predictability. Rock bottom often disrupts time perception, making days feel chaotic or meaningless. Habits restore temporal structure, providing a framework in which progress can occur. Allocate time intentionally for tasks that support your vision, values, and recovery, and guard this time against distractions or reactive pressures. Structured days cultivate focus, reduce overwhelm, and reinforce the sense that you are actively shaping your life rather than reacting to it. Accountability, whether to yourself or to others, enhances habit formation. Share goals with a trusted friend, mentor, or community, or track them privately in a journal or app. Recording progress reinforces commitment and allows you to celebrate micro-successes, which strengthens motivation. Accountability does not create pressure, it creates structure and reinforces self-discipline, which is essential in the journey from rock bottom to thriving. It is important to recognize that habits and routines are not meant to be rigid or joyless. They should be flexible, adaptable, and infused with purpose. The goal is not perfection but alignment, actions that consistently reflect values, vision, and growth priorities. The freedom in structure comes from the stability that habits provide. By anchoring your days in meaningful routines, you free mental space to innovate, create, and respond to challenges with clarity rather than reactivity. A critical mindset shift in habit reconstruction is valuing progress over outcome. The purpose of habits is not immediate transformation, but cumulative growth. Some days will feel small, inconsequential, or even frustrating, yet each act of consistency reinforces your foundation. By focusing on the process rather than the results, you build endurance, patience, and resilience. You begin to understand that success is rarely instantaneous, and that sustainable transformation is the result of steady, deliberate effort over time. To rebuild effectively, start with a core set of habits that address mind, body, and spirit. For mental resilience, practices might include journaling, reading, planning, or mindfulness. For physical health, focus on exercise, nutrition, and sleep routines. For emotional balance, Cultivate gratitude, reflection or meditation. Begin small with habits that are achievable and repeatable, then gradually expand. Momentum grows when small, consistent actions compound, creating a sense of mastery and reinforcing confidence. Habits also create feedback loops. Positive routines reinforce confidence and motivation, while neglected routines can reinforce feelings of instability or defeat. For example, starting a day with reflection, exercise and planning creates a positive tone, enhances decision-making and increases energy for other tasks. Conversely, skipping these routines can contribute to a sense of chaos or drift. Awareness of these loops allows intentional adjustment, ensuring that habits consistently support growth rather than undermine it. Reflection and adaptation are essential. Periodically review your habits and routines to ensure they continue to align with your vision, values, and current needs. Life circumstances change, and flexibility is necessary to maintain momentum. Evaluate what is working, what feels draining, and what could be optimized. This iterative approach ensures that habits remain effective, purposeful, and aligned with your foundation. Celebrate progress regularly. Each day that you engage in constructive routines, no matter how small, is a victory. Recognize that rebuilding is not instantaneous, and that every habit maintained is a step toward long-term transformation. Gratitude for small achievements reinforces self-worth and encourages continued action. Acknowledge the courage required to rebuild from rock bottom, and honor yourself for each effort. Ultimately, the practice of rebuilding daily habits and routines transforms more than your external circumstances. It reshapes your identity. Each day of consistency signals to your mind and spirit that you are capable, disciplined, and resilient. Over time, these habits become automatic, embedding growth and stability into the fabric of your life. From rock bottom, you rise not only by overcoming challenges, but by cultivating daily practices that create sustainable momentum, resilience, and confidence. The journey from rock bottom to thriving is composed of countless small, deliberate actions, repeated consistently. Habits and routines are the vessels through which transformation occurs. They provide structure when life feels chaotic, momentum when motivation wavers, and evidence of capability when doubt arises. They are the bridges from despair to empowerment, from fear to confidence, and from uncertainty to mastery. Rebuilding your daily habits and routines is an act of courage, a declaration that your life is worth intentional effort, and a commitment to align each day with your vision and values. Every small action compounds, every consistent choice strengthens your foundation, and every maintained routine is proof of your resilience. Over time, the sum of these actions creates profound transformation, ensuring that rock bottom is not an endpoint but a launchpad for growth, strength, and sustained success. By consciously choosing habits that support your mind, body, and spirit, you reclaim agency over your life. You demonstrate to yourself that recovery is possible, that transformation is achievable, and that each day is an opportunity to build momentum. The power of daily practice lies not in grand gestures, but in small purposeful steps that, when compounded over time, yield extraordinary results. This is how you rise from rock bottom, not by chance, but by choice, intention, and relentless dedication to your own growth. Chapter 8: Harnessing Resilience Through Challenges. Life rarely unfolds in a straight line. The journey from rock bottom to rebuilding is rarely linear, and even after laying a strong foundation and establishing daily habits, challenges inevitably emerge. These challenges may come as unexpected setbacks, personal disappointments, professional obstacles, or internal struggles that test your patience, faith, and determination. It is at these moments that resilience, the capacity to endure, adapt, and grow in the face of adversity, becomes your most critical ally. Understanding resilience, cultivating it deliberately, and harnessing the lessons embedded within difficulties is what transforms obstacles into accelerants for personal growth. Resilience begins with perspective. Challenges are not signs of failure, they are opportunities to test and strengthen the foundation you have built. Rock bottom itself was a challenge that demanded courage and reflection. The setbacks that follow are smaller waves in comparison, but they still serve a purpose. They reveal areas of weakness, call for adaptation, and encourage the development of emotional agility. Resilience does not remove the difficulty. It equips you to navigate it without losing momentum, confidence, or self-belief. The first step in harnessing resilience is to normalize challenges as part of growth. Accepting that life will throw obstacles in your path reduces fear, mitigates frustration, and allows you to engage with setbacks constructively rather than reactively. At the heart of resilience is emotional agility. Emotional agility is the ability to recognize, understand, and respond to emotions without being dominated by them. Challenges often evoke strong feelings, anger, disappointment, fear, or frustration, that can derail progress if left unmanaged. By cultivating emotional agility, you learn to acknowledge these emotions, understand their source, and make decisions that align with your goals and values rather than impulsive reactions. Practices such as mindfulness, journaling, and reflection help develop this skill, allowing you to navigate adversity with clarity and composure. Persistence is another pillar of resilience. Growth rarely happens in a single decisive leap. It emerges through consistent, determined effort over time. When setbacks occur, persistence ensures that you do not abandon the path you have chosen. It requires patience, self-trust, and a commitment to your vision. The most resilient individuals view obstacles as temporary, contextual, and surmountable, rather than as indicators of personal inadequacy. By maintaining focus on your long-term objectives, while taking deliberate steps forward each day, you harness the power of persistence to transform difficulties into forward momentum. Flexibility is equally essential. Life is unpredictable, and challenges often demand adaptation rather than rigid adherence to a plan. Flexibility is not a compromise of values or vision, but a willingness to adjust strategies, explore alternative routes, and respond creatively to unforeseen circumstances. Resilient individuals are able to pivot without losing sight of their purpose, finding solutions within constraints rather than succumbing to frustration or despair. This adaptability transforms obstacles into opportunities for growth, teaching lessons that are inaccessible when life proceeds without challenge. One of the most powerful aspects of harnessing resilience is the ability to extract lessons from setbacks. Every challenge, no matter how difficult, carries insight. Perhaps a failed project revealed a gap in skills, a strained relationship exposed boundaries that need reinforcement, or a personal disappointment highlighted unacknowledged fears. By reframing challenges as information rather than punishment, you shift from a reactive mindset to a proactive one. Reflection is critical here. Ask yourself, what is this experience teaching me, and how can I use this insight to strengthen my foundation? Each lesson, internalized, strengthens your capacity to handle future challenges with grace and confidence. Developing resilience also requires cultivating self-compassion. Facing challenges can evoke self-doubt, harsh self-criticism, and regret over past decisions. Resilient individuals understand that setbacks do not define their worth. They are events to be processed, learned from, and integrated into growth. Self-compassion allows you to acknowledge struggle without judgment, to forgive mistakes, and to reinforce a mindset of perseverance. It is the balance between accountability and gentleness that sustains motivation, reduces burnout, and encourages continued progress even under pressure. Support systems play a vital role in resilience. Challenges are easier to navigate when you have trusted allies who provide encouragement, perspective, and accountability. Mentors, friends, family, or professional networks can offer guidance, validation, and emotional reinforcement during difficult times. Seeking support is not a sign of weakness, but a strategic act of self-care and resourcefulness. Resilient individuals leverage these relationships wisely, balancing independence with connection to optimize growth and sustain momentum. Resilience is also deeply intertwined with self-efficacy, the belief in your capacity to influence outcomes. Setbacks can shake confidence and create feelings of helplessness, but each challenge successfully navigated strengthens self-efficacy. Begin by acknowledging the small victories: solving a problem, maintaining composure under stress, completing a difficult task, or adapting to change effectively. These moments accumulate, building a robust belief in your ability to overcome future obstacles. Self-efficacy fuels motivation, reinforces persistence, and enables you to face adversity proactively rather than with fear or avoidance. To harness resilience fully, integrate structured problem-solving strategies into your approach to challenges. Rather than reacting impulsively or succumbing to frustration, break challenges into manageable components. Identify what you can control and focus efforts there. Analyze potential solutions, weigh consequences, and commit to action with clarity. Breaking down obstacles into actionable steps transforms overwhelming problems into achievable tasks, reducing anxiety and increasing effectiveness. Over time, this strategic approach becomes habitual, enhancing your ability to face complex situations with confidence. Another vital aspect of resilience is cultivating a growth mindset. Challenges often test self-perception, threatening to reinforce limiting beliefs or negative self-talk. A growth mindset reframes difficulties as opportunities to learn, develop skills, and expand capabilities. Instead of thinking, "I can't handle this," adopt the perspective, "What can I learn from this situation?" or "How can this challenge make me stronger?" This mental framework transforms setbacks from threats into catalysts for development, shifting your emotional response from fear to curiosity, from discouragement to determination. Physical and mental health also support resilience. Chronic stress, fatigue, or neglect of the body can diminish your capacity to cope with adversity. Habits such as regular exercise, healthy nutrition, adequate rest, and mindfulness practices enhance energy, focus, and emotional regulation. When the body is supported, the mind becomes more agile, and emotional responses are more manageable. The interplay between physical well-being and psychological resilience is profound. Caring for one strengthens the other, creating a feedback loop that sustains growth during challenging periods. Resilient individuals also practice anticipatory preparation. While it is impossible to predict every obstacle, you can develop mental and emotional strategies to handle adversity when it arises. Visualization, scenario planning, and reflection on past challenges equip you to approach future difficulties with composure and strategic thinking. By mentally rehearsing responses, you reduce the impact of shock, fear, or overwhelm when real challenges occur. Anticipation is not about anxiety, it is about preparation, increasing readiness, and reinforcing confidence in your ability to navigate adversity. The transformation that resilience enables extends beyond simply surviving challenges. It empowers growth, deepens self-awareness, and strengthens character. Each challenge faced and overcome reinforces your commitment to your values, aligns actions with vision, and fosters confidence in your capacity to navigate uncertainty. Resilience turns obstacles into teachers, setbacks into stepping stones, and difficulties into accelerants for personal transformation. By intentionally cultivating resilience, you not only endure adversity but also harness it to rise stronger, wiser, and more capable than before. Ultimately, resilience is a choice as much as it is a skill. It is the conscious decision to face difficulty with courage, curiosity, and determination, rather than surrendering to despair. It is the understanding that challenges are not endpoints, but opportunities for growth. It is the practice of persistence, flexibility, emotional agility, and self-compassion in the face of adversity. By embracing challenges as part of the growth process, you transform your mindset from one of reaction to one of intentional transformation. The power of resilience lies in your ability to harness it consistently. Each setback becomes a laboratory for learning, each obstacle a mirror reflecting areas for growth, and each challenge a chance to refine habits, mindset, and emotional fortitude. When faced with adversity, pause and remind yourself, this is not the end of your story. This is a moment to exercise courage, strengthen resolve, and apply the principles you have cultivated through habit, foundation, and vision. Resilience turns difficulty into progress, pain into insight, and rock bottom into a launchpad for transformation. The key to harnessing resilience is to integrate it into daily practice. Reflect on challenges regularly, extract lessons, and apply insights consistently. Celebrate small victories along the way. Build emotional, mental, and physical strength deliberately. Align responses with values, act with intentionality, and maintain focus on long-term vision. By approaching life with this mindset, adversity becomes a natural accelerant for growth, shaping a self that is stronger, more capable, and more deeply rooted in purpose than before. Challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt are not signs of weakness. They are invitations to strengthen, expand, and elevate your potential. When faced with adversity, remember that the most resilient individuals are not those who avoid difficulty, but those who confront it with clarity, courage, and composure. Through emotional agility, persistence, flexibility, and self-compassion, you can transform challenges into catalysts for growth, reinforcing the foundation you have built and propelling you toward the vision of your best self. The journey from rock bottom to thriving is defined not only by recovery, but by the strength you cultivate in the process. Harnessing resilience ensures that every setback is a stepping stone, every challenge an opportunity to refine your skills, and every difficulty a chance to fortify your inner foundation. By embracing challenges intentionally, learning from them diligently, and applying insights consistently, you accelerate your transformation and create a life built not on avoidance but on mastery. In the end, resilience is your compass and your muscle. It allows you to endure, adapt, and grow, even when life's storms threaten to knock you off course. It turns fear into courage, frustration into insight, and setbacks into momentum. By viewing challenges as accelerants rather than obstacles, you reclaim your agency, strengthen your foundation, and propel yourself toward a life of purpose, fulfillment, and sustained growth. Rock bottom may have been the beginning, but resilience ensures that every step forward transforms hardship into a platform for extraordinary achievement. Chapter 9: Finding Purpose in the Rebuild. When you have hit rock bottom, the immediate focus is often survival, just making it through the day, managing the emotions, and regaining some semblance of stability. Yet as you begin to rebuild, a profound opportunity emerges, the chance to discover, clarify, and pursue purpose. Rock bottom, painful as it is, has a unique way of stripping life down to its essentials. It strips away pretense, distraction, and the weight of societal expectations, leaving only what truly matters. In these moments of vulnerability, you have the rare gift of clarity, a chance to connect deeply with your values, passions, and the legacy you wish to create. Purpose is not a fleeting idea. It is the compass that gives direction to your actions, meaning to your efforts, and resilience to your struggles. When life is uncertain or chaotic, purpose provides a steady reference point, guiding choices and sustaining motivation. Rebuilding without purpose risks repetition, shallow achievement, or falling into old patterns that led to rock bottom in the first place. Conversely, when purpose becomes central, every step of reconstruction is infused with meaning. The act of rebuilding transforms from mere survival into a conscious journey of creation, growth, and fulfillment. Often, setbacks are the most potent catalysts for discovering purpose. When plans fail, relationships dissolve, or personal aspirations are interrupted, the energy previously invested in unaligned paths is freed. Suddenly, there is space to explore what resonates with your authentic self. Rock bottom acts as a filter, helping to distinguish between what is obligatory, expected, or externally imposed, and what is genuinely meaningful. Pain, disappointment, and loss are not wasted experiences. They are signposts directing you toward your true priorities. The challenge is to recognize this redirection and engage with it intentionally. Connecting with purpose begins with self-reflection. Ask yourself deep questions: what brings me fulfillment? What contributions make me feel alive? Which activities, projects, or relationships align with my values? What legacy do I wish to create? The answers may not emerge instantly, but engaging in this inquiry cultivates awareness. Journaling, meditation, or conversations with mentors and trusted peers can illuminate insights. Each reflection is a building block for a life that is not only rebuilt but deeply meaningful. It is important to understand that purpose is not synonymous with grand achievements or external recognition. Purpose is about alignment with your inner values and the consistent pursuit of meaningful goals. It might be expressed through your work, creative projects, relationships, community involvement, or personal growth. The scope does not matter as much as the authenticity and intentionality behind the actions. When purpose is anchored internally rather than externally, setbacks no longer derail motivation. They become part of a larger narrative of growth and contribution. Rock bottom also encourages exploration of passions that may have been dormant or suppressed. In periods of survival and recovery, there is often an instinct to prioritize immediate needs over long-term dreams. However, as stability returns, revisiting passions is essential for a purposeful rebuild. These passions are not frivolous indulgences. They are the engines of energy, creativity, and resilience. Engaging with what excites, challenges, and fulfills you strengthens your identity, enriches your emotional landscape, and provides a direction for continued growth. Another key element of purpose is contribution, the sense that your actions positively impact others, the community, or the world in alignment with your values. Purpose is magnified when it transcends self-interest, connecting personal growth to collective benefit. Whether through mentoring, volunteering, creative expression, or professional endeavors, contributing towards something larger than yourself cultivates fulfillment and reinforces the meaning of your journey. It turns the narrative of rock bottom from personal tragedy into shared transformation. Discovering purpose also requires evaluating your values, those principles that define what is important to you. Rock bottom can clarify which values are essential and which were previously overlooked or compromised. Aligning goals and actions with core values creates consistency, integrity, and a sense of inner harmony. Values act as a compass, helping you navigate challenges, make decisions with clarity, and remain committed to the path of growth even when obstacles arise. Purpose rooted in values provides both direction and resilience, ensuring that each step forward contributes meaningfully to your life's trajectory. Clarity of purpose also transforms how you approach setbacks and failures during the rebuild. When your actions are aligned with meaningful goals, obstacles become temporary deviations rather than indicators of inadequacy. Rock-bottom experiences, once seen as shameful or purely negative, are reframed as foundational lessons that inform your direction. Challenges no longer distract from purpose, they refine it. With this mindset, you move forward with greater confidence, emotional balance, and a sense of inevitability that your efforts are contributing to something significant. Purpose is strengthened through goal setting that is aligned with values and vision. Clear, intentional goals translate abstract purpose into actionable steps. Start with long-term aspirations, then break them down into tangible, achievable milestones. Each milestone reached reinforces momentum, provides evidence of progress, and deepens the connection between effort and fulfillment. The goal-setting process is iterative. Review, reflect, and refine based on experiences, insights, and evolving understanding of your purpose. Actionable goals bridge the gap between abstract meaning and concrete progress, ensuring that rebuilding is both practical and fulfilling. It is essential to cultivate patience and persistence in discovering purpose. Finding and aligning with meaningful goals is rarely instantaneous. The process requires trial and error, exploration and adaptation. Some attempts may feel unsuccessful, while others may reveal passions or strengths previously unrecognized. Embrace this process as part of the journey. Each exploration contributes to self-awareness, informs future decisions, and strengthens your capacity to pursue long-term growth. Purpose is both the compass and the path, discovered gradually and reinforced through consistent action. Purpose-driven rebuilding also intersects with self-compassion. The path from rock bottom is often accompanied by self-doubt, regret, or fear of inadequacy. Purpose gives perspective. It contextualizes setbacks as part of a larger narrative of growth rather than permanent failure. By connecting actions to meaningful goals and personal values, you cultivate resilience, reduce the impact of negative self-talk, and approach challenges with determination rather than discouragement. Self-compassion allows you to remain engaged in the pursuit of purpose, even when progress is incremental or difficult. Another vital aspect is alignment of purpose with strengths and passions. Rock bottom often reveals not only vulnerabilities but also hidden capacities, resilience, and untapped talents. Identifying and leveraging these strengths ensures that your efforts are productive, fulfilling, and sustainable. When purpose aligns with natural abilities and genuine interests, engagement becomes effortless, motivation is sustained, and growth accelerates. Strengths act as tools, passions as fuel, and values as a compass, together forming the engine that propels your rebuild toward meaningful fulfillment. Exploring purpose also requires courage. Purpose often lies beyond comfort zones, requiring risk-taking, self-expression, and vulnerability. It may involve pursuing a new career path, developing creative talents, addressing unresolved relationships, or stepping into unfamiliar social or professional spaces. Courage does not eliminate fear, but empowers action despite it. Each courageous step strengthens confidence, reinforces self-efficacy, and deepens the connection between effort and meaningful achievement. Purpose grows as courage is exercised consistently, turning uncertainty into opportunity. Finally, purpose transforms rebuilding from mere survival into thriving. When actions, goals, and routines are intentionally aligned with meaningful values and passions, life gains richness, energy, and depth. Setbacks, once feared, become catalysts for insight and redirection. Momentum is fueled not by external validation, but by intrinsic meaning. The journey from rock bottom evolves into a deliberate act of creation, building a life that reflects authenticity, resilience, and impact. Thriving is no longer a distant goal. It is the natural outcome of aligning effort with purpose. In essence, finding purpose in the rebuild reframes rock bottom as an extraordinary gift. It reveals clarity, exposes authentic values, and frees energy to pursue what truly matters. Setbacks become signposts, passions become engines of motivation, and contributions create meaning beyond personal gain. Purpose anchors rebuilding, transforming it into a conscious, intentional journey toward fulfillment. When you connect your actions to deeper meaning, every effort becomes a testament to your resilience, courage, and capacity to rise stronger. By discovering and pursuing purpose, you shift the narrative of adversity. Rock bottom is no longer simply a low point, it is the foundation for a life of depth, intentionality, and growth. Challenges are no longer barriers but catalysts, and rebuilding becomes not just recovery but evolution. Purpose ensures that the steps you take today, no matter how small, contribute to a trajectory of authenticity, fulfillment, and meaningful impact. Your rock bottom is the launchpad, your values, strengths, and passions are the compass. Every challenge navigated, every insight gained, every step forward is a testament to your capacity to rise and thrive. Purpose transforms the rebuild into a life fully lived, guided by intention, sustained by passion, and marked by meaningful impact. The journey from surviving to thriving is not completed overnight, but with clarity, courage, and alignment, your life becomes a reflection of deliberate growth, resilience, and purpose realized. Chapter 10: Thriving Beyond Rock Bottom. There comes a moment in every journey of transformation when surviving is no longer enough. You have faced your lowest point, sifted through the wreckage of old failures, fears, and losses, and gradually begun to rebuild. But surviving is just the beginning. Thriving is the ultimate expression of resilience, the demonstration that hitting rock bottom did not define you, it refined you. Thriving beyond rock bottom is not simply about avoiding past mistakes or regaining stability, it is about living deliberately, creatively, and authentically, using the lessons of adversity to fuel continued growth and fulfillment. To thrive beyond rock bottom, you must first embrace the power of perspective. Life after hitting bottom looks different because your lens has shifted. Challenges that once seemed overwhelming now appear as opportunities to apply insight and wisdom. Decisions are made not from fear, avoidance, or the need for approval, but from clarity, confidence, and alignment with values. Thriving begins when you recognize that the very circumstances that once brought despair are now tools for building a life that is stronger, richer, and more meaningful. One of the most visible expressions of thriving is in relationships. Rock bottom often isolates you, forcing deep self-reflection and a reassessment of whom and what you allow into your life. Thriving in relationships requires discernment, emotional maturity, and the courage to prioritize connection that nourishes rather than drains. You learn to set boundaries without guilt, communicate openly, and engage with others from a place of authenticity. Friendships, partnerships, and professional connections flourish when they are chosen intentionally and nurtured with care. Rock bottom teaches the value of quality over quantity, depth over surface-level interaction, and genuine reciprocity over conditional approval. Thriving also manifests in your career and creative pursuits. After experiencing your lowest point, you develop a clarity about what truly matters and what aligns with your unique strengths and passions. Career choices are no longer solely motivated by prestige, security, or societal expectations, but by meaningful contribution and personal fulfillment. You bring creativity, energy, and resilience into professional endeavors, leveraging the lessons of failure and setback to innovate, problem solve, and excel. Creativity flourishes when you no longer fear judgment or rejection, allowing you to explore ideas, take risks, and express yourself fully. Rock bottom provides the humility to learn, the courage to act, and the perspective to thrive in environments that once intimidated or constrained you. Personal growth becomes the heartbeat of thriving. Life beyond rock bottom is a continuous journey of learning, refining, and expanding. You understand that setbacks are not endpoints, they are opportunities to stretch, adapt, and evolve. Resilience, once cultivated through necessity, now becomes a conscious practice. You celebrate your progress, both large and small, recognizing that each step forward, each lesson learned, and each fear overcome is part of a broader narrative of self-empowerment. Thriving requires self-awareness, the ability to reflect on experiences, identify patterns, and leverage insight for continued development. One of the hallmarks of thriving is freedom from external validation. Rock bottom often exposes the fragility of relying on applause, approval, or recognition from others for self-worth. Life beyond this point is marked by internal alignment. Your choices, achievements, and sense of fulfillment stem from within. You celebrate victories privately, honor progress without needing acknowledgement, and find satisfaction in mastery, integrity, and growth. This internal validation empowers every area of life, reducing dependence on fluctuating external conditions and increasing emotional resilience. Thriving is sustainable precisely because it is rooted in self-awareness, self-respect, and authenticity, rather than transient approval. Thriving is also expressed in mental and emotional flexibility. Life will continue to present challenges, but the mindset cultivated through rock bottom equips you to navigate them with agility and composure. Instead of reacting impulsively or succumbing to fear, you respond with intention, perspective, and problem-solving. Emotional intelligence becomes a guiding principle, helping you regulate responses, empathize with others, and maintain clarity in moments of stress. By embracing challenges as opportunities for learning rather than threats to stability, thriving transforms obstacles into catalysts for ongoing growth. An essential aspect of thriving is purpose-driven action. After rock bottom, you recognize that life gains depth when actions are aligned with meaningful goals. Purpose is not abstract. It guides daily decisions, shapes priorities, and provides the energy to pursue long-term aspirations. Thriving involves identifying passions that excite, projects that challenge, and contributions that matter. It is the active pursuit of work, creativity, and relationships that reflect authentic values, bringing a profound sense of fulfillment and meaning to life. Purpose transforms surviving into thriving, because every effort is intentional and aligned with the broader vision of your life. Celebration is also an indispensable part of thriving. It is easy to become so focused on the next goal, the next challenge, or the next improvement that progress goes unnoticed. Thriving requires acknowledgement of how far you have come. Celebrate your resilience, your courage, and your ability to continue building, even when the world seemed indifferent. Recognize that progress is not measured solely by external achievement, but by the consistency, intention, and authenticity you bring to each day. Gratitude, reflection, and mindful recognition of your growth reinforce the foundation laid at rock bottom and energize the next phase of your journey. Thriving goes beyond personal achievement. It is about contribution and influence. Life gains significance when the lessons, insights, and resilience you have cultivated are shared, whether through mentorship, community engagement, creative expression, or leadership. By using your experiences to inspire, guide, or support others, you create a ripple effect of positive impact. Thriving is not isolation. It is engagement with the world from a place of strength, empathy, and authenticity. The hardships you have overcome provide credibility, perspective, and wisdom that can lift others while reinforcing your own sense of purpose. Sustainability of growth is a key aspect of thriving. Rock bottom is the foundation, but long-term flourishing requires consistent habits, reflection, and intentionality. Thriving involves maintaining the principles, routines, and values cultivated throughout your journey. Daily practices such as journaling, goal review, mindfulness, physical care, and deliberate reflection keep your foundation strong. Resilience becomes a muscle, strengthened through regular engagement and mindful awareness, ensuring that new challenges are met not with panic or regression, but with composure and strategic action. Thriving beyond rock bottom also means embracing authenticity without compromise. You no longer measure worth through comparison, fear, or external expectation. The person you have become is a product of deliberate growth, reflection, and transformation. Authenticity requires courage to speak your truth, make unconventional choices, and honor your values in every decision. Thriving is not perfection. It is the confidence to be real, the discipline to act intentionally, and the wisdom to navigate life with integrity. Authenticity is both the expression and reward of the rebuilding process. The journey of thriving is marked by continued evolution. Rock bottom was a critical inflection point, but growth does not end there. Each new experience, opportunity, and challenge is an invitation to refine skills, deepen understanding, and expand your vision. Thriving is iterative. It evolves with each season of life. By embracing change, staying curious, and approaching life with intention, you ensure that your rebuilt foundation continues to support not only survival but extraordinary achievement and fulfillment. It is important to recognize that thriving is also an attitude toward life. It is not simply a state of having rebuilt. It is a mindset that embraces possibility, resilience, and deliberate action. Thriving individuals view obstacles as opportunities, setbacks as lessons, and uncertainty as a canvas for creativity and problem-solving. This mindset permeates every area of life, from personal relationships to career, from creative projects to self-care, and reinforces the enduring impact of lessons learned at rock bottom. Thriving requires integrity and alignment. Each decision, habit, and action is a reflection of the values, lessons, and vision cultivated during the rebuild. Integrity ensures that success is sustainable and meaningful, rather than superficial or hollow. Alignment between values, purpose, and actions provides clarity, motivation, and resilience, creating a life that is coherent, intentional, and fulfilling. When you live in alignment, thriving is effortless because each step forward resonates with who you truly are. Finally, thriving beyond rock bottom is about joy, fulfillment, and freedom. It is the liberation from fear, doubt, and dependence on external validation. It is the exhilaration of knowing that even after hitting the lowest point, you have rebuilt, strengthened, and transformed. Joy comes not from perfection or constant praise, but from living deliberately, contributing meaningfully, and engaging with life fully. Fulfillment arises from alignment with purpose, consistent growth, and authentic expression. Freedom is found in the knowledge that your value, potential, and resilience are self-sustained and unshakable. The life that unfolds when you thrive beyond rock bottom is rich with possibilities. Relationships are intentional and nurturing. Career and creativity flourish through purpose-aligned engagement. Personal growth continues as a lifelong journey of learning and refinement. Setbacks are approached with resilience and wisdom. Internal validation replaces dependency on external applause. Every action, choice, and effort is meaningful, deliberate, and fulfilling. Thriving is not a destination. It is the embodiment of a life rebuilt with courage, insight, and authenticity, turning past struggles into a launchpad for extraordinary living. In the final analysis, thriving beyond rock bottom is about embracing the fullness of life with intentionality. It is the art of transforming adversity into insight, failure into opportunity, and challenges into momentum. The foundation you built from rock bottom is solid, but its true power lies in how you leverage it, with courage, purpose, resilience, and authenticity. Thriving is not merely recovery. It is the conscious creation of a life that reflects your values, strengths, and vision, a life that not only survives but flourishes spectacularly. By embracing the lessons of the past, committing to deliberate growth, and acting in alignment with your purpose, you transform every setback into a springboard. Rock bottom was the starting line, and thriving is the ongoing race fueled by experience, wisdom, and self-belief. This is life lived fully, resilient, intentional, meaningful, and unshakably authentic. Thriving beyond rock bottom is your birthright. It is the culmination of reflection, courage, and effort. It is the celebration of resilience. It is the freedom to live life on your terms, to honor your values, and to engage with the world from a place of strength, clarity, and purpose. You are no longer defined by what you have lost, but by the foundation you have built, the lessons you have learned, and the extraordinary potential you now harness. Life beyond rock bottom is not only possible, it is waiting for you to claim it fully, boldly, and authentically. Conclusion: your foundation, your growth. As you close this book, it is vital to pause and reflect on the journey you have traversed. From the opening chapters exploring the depths of rock bottom, to the later chapters illuminating the tools, strategies, and insights for rebuilding, every page has aimed to show you one central truth: hitting rock bottom is not a sign of failure, it is a catalyst for transformation. It is a moment of raw honesty, a turning point where the illusion of control dissolves, and you are faced with the profound opportunity to reshape your life from the foundation up. While the experience may have been painful, uncomfortable, and disorienting, it also carries within it the seed of your most authentic growth. Rock bottom strips away pretense, societal expectations, and distractions, leaving a clear view of what is essential. In this stripped-down space, you are confronted with yourself, the fears, the limiting beliefs, the patterns that no longer serve you, and the raw resilience that has been quietly waiting to be called forth. It is here that self-awareness begins. Understanding who you are, what truly matters, and how your past experiences shape your reactions and choices, is the first building block of a solid foundation. Self-awareness allows you to navigate life intentionally rather than reactively. It empowers you to recognize patterns, honor your emotions without being controlled by them, and make choices that align with your values and long-term vision. Resilience, as we have explored, is not merely a response to adversity. It is a skill, a muscle, and a mindset that can be developed intentionally. Every setback you have faced, every moment of despair, every time you have felt defeated, has contributed to this reservoir of strength. Thriving beyond rock bottom requires tapping into that resilience consciously. It means choosing to persist even when progress feels slow, trusting your capacity to adapt, and reframing obstacles as opportunities for insight and growth. Resilience is not the absence of struggle, it is the commitment to rise again and again, fueled by the lessons you have gained from each fall. Mindset is equally pivotal in the transformation from rock bottom to thriving. The way you interpret events, setbacks, and even your own mistakes shapes the trajectory of your life. A fixed mindset keeps you tethered to the past, convincing you that failures define you, that circumstances are permanent, and that change is beyond your reach. A growth mindset, however, transforms challenges into stepping stones, moments of pain into lessons, and uncertainties into opportunities. It empowers you to see rock bottom not as an ending, but as the beginning of a purposeful, intentional journey. By consciously cultivating a mindset oriented toward learning, flexibility, and possibility, you lay a foundation that is both strong and expansive. Intentional action is the bridge between insight and transformation. Self-awareness, resilience, and mindset create clarity, but without deliberate steps forward, insight remains abstract. Each choice you make, each habit you build, and each action you take contributes to the structure of your new life. These actions do not have to be monumental. Small, consistent steps compound into meaningful change over time. By setting goals aligned with your values, creating routines that support your mental and emotional health, and consistently reflecting on your progress, you ensure that the foundation you are building is not only solid but sustainable. The power of intentionality lies in its ability to transform uncertainty and vulnerability into measurable growth and meaningful achievement. As you reflect on this journey, it becomes evident that growth is not linear. Rebuilding from rock bottom is rarely a straight path. There will be moments of doubt, fear, and even regression. There will be times when you question whether your efforts are making a difference, or if the foundation you are constructing will hold. These moments are natural. They are part of the human experience and, in fact, essential for the depth of your growth. What matters is not the absence of challenge, but the consistency of your commitment. Returning to self-awareness, resilience, mindset, and intentional action each time you are tested strengthens your foundation and expands your capacity for sustained, authentic growth. Self-compassion is another indispensable pillar in this process. As you rebuild, it is crucial to honor your journey, recognize your efforts, and forgive yourself for past missteps. Rock bottom may have exposed vulnerabilities, but it also revealed courage you may not have known you possessed. Embracing self-compassion allows you to move forward without the burden of judgment or shame. It enables you to view setbacks as temporary, lessons as valuable, and progress as meaningful regardless of external validation. When combined with resilience and intentional action, self-compassion fosters a growth environment where you can flourish authentically. Your relationships and connections also evolve as a result of rebuilding from rock bottom. When you operate from a foundation of self-awareness and intentionality, your interactions with others are transformed. Boundaries are honored, communication becomes clear, and relationships are chosen based on alignment with values rather than fear of loss or desire for approval. You are no longer dependent on external validation to feel worthy, and this independence enhances the depth and quality of your connections. Thriving relationships become not only a reflection of your growth, but a source of mutual support, inspiration, and fulfillment. Creativity and contribution are integral to thriving beyond rock bottom. The lessons, insights, and resilience you have cultivated can be channeled into acts of creation, whether through your work, artistic expression, community involvement, or mentorship. Contribution gives purpose to your growth and amplifies the impact of your journey. By sharing your experiences and skills, you transform personal challenges into collective benefit, reinforcing your own sense of meaning while inspiring and supporting others. The power of thriving lies not only in personal fulfillment, but in the capacity to influence the world positively through your actions and presence. An essential takeaway is that rock bottom is a launchpad, not a prison. It provides the stark clarity and urgent motivation necessary to evaluate priorities, confront limiting beliefs, and take action. It is the foundation upon which you can rebuild with intention, resilience, and authenticity. The experiences that once caused despair become the very tools that empower you to thrive. Pain, loss, and failure are reframed as teachers, mentors, and catalysts for transformation. Your foundation is not built on perfection or privilege, it is built on insight, courage, and deliberate effort. Thriving beyond rock bottom is a commitment to continuous growth. The journey does not end with stability or temporary success. It is an ongoing process of reflection, adaptation, and evolution. Every experience, challenge, and opportunity is an invitation to expand your understanding, refine your skills, and deepen your alignment with purpose. Growth becomes habitual, resilience becomes instinctual, and thriving becomes a sustainable state of being. By embracing the mindset of a lifelong learner, you ensure that the foundation you have constructed remains dynamic, strong, and capable of supporting increasingly ambitious goals. The ultimate message of this journey is empowerment. You have the tools to shape your life, to rise from adversity, and to build a future that reflects your highest aspirations. Self-awareness, resilience, mindset, intentional action, and self-compassion are not abstract concepts. They are practical, actionable principles that, when consistently applied, yield extraordinary results. Empowerment emerges not from external circumstances, but from mastery over your responses, alignment with your values, and the courage to act despite fear, uncertainty, or past setbacks. As you step forward from this foundation, remember that every challenge is an opportunity, every setback a lesson, and every small victory a building block. Celebrate your progress without waiting for external applause. Acknowledge your resilience and the depth of your courage. Honor the wisdom gained from struggle and let it inform your actions going forward. Trust that the foundation you have constructed through conscious effort, reflection, and persistence is strong enough to support the life you envision. Your journey from rock bottom is a testament to human potential. It is proof that even in the darkest moments, you have the capacity to rise, rebuild, and thrive. It is an invitation to continue evolving, creating, and contributing with clarity, intention, and authenticity. By committing to growth, honoring your values, and embracing the lessons of the past, you transform adversity into opportunity and uncertainty into a launchpad for success. In conclusion, let this truth guide your next steps. Rock bottom is not a limitation. It is the foundation for a life built intentionally, courageously, and authentically. Self-awareness illuminates your path. Resilience carries you through obstacles. Mindset shapes your interpretation of every challenge. Intentional action transforms insight into tangible progress. Self-compassion nurtures your continued growth and fortifies your confidence. Together, these tools allow you to construct a life that is meaningful, fulfilling, and resilient, one that rises higher with every step you take. Commit today to honoring your journey, trusting your foundation, and building with courage and intention. Embrace each challenge as a lesson, each setback as an opportunity, and each victory, no matter how small, as evidence of your extraordinary capacity. Keep evolving, keep striving, and keep building from the base you have created. Your foundation is strong. Your growth is unstoppable. Your life is yours to thrive in fully, authentically, and boldly. Rock bottom was just the beginning, the launchpad for the remarkable life you are capable of creating. Thank you for reading this book. I hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to leave us a review. TM Light. Disclaimer. This book was created with the assistance of artificial intelligence. While every effort was made to ensure the accuracy and relevance of the content, readers should note that this cannot be considered professional advice. Readers are encouraged to apply their own judgment and consult experts where needed.